Now, it's January, which comes as a surprise to nobody, but it is also Veganuary. And to talk about this, I'm joined on the line by spokesperson for the Vegan Information Project, Dr. Roger Yates. Roger, you're welcome to the programme.
Hi, hello there. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all. Tell us about the ethos behind Veganuary.
Well, I think it's really a mentoring thing, to be honest. I don't actually like the kind of New Year's resolution part of it, in a sense. Because veganism is a justice-based philosophy, and you don't kind of turn it off and on for a month per year. But the idea is to kind of introduce people to plant-based eating, and then hopefully open the door to vegan ways of thinking. And so they, on their website, they've got lots of resources about animal use, and I think they lead people through the month, and then hope that they'll continue afterwards. So I think it's like a mentoring thing, mainly.
So for you personally, Roger, is being a vegan a philosophical and ethical choice?
Oh, yeah, well, veganism is a philosophy. It's not a diet. It's something that quite a lot of people are a bit confused about, and I suppose in some ways Veganuary doesn't help in that sense because it focuses on the diet. Whereas, again, they do have resources which talk about animal use and about rights violations and about human issues, etc. So veganism is a kind of radical vision of the future which would be less violent, more respectful of rights across the board, human rights, other animals, etc., etc.
What do you think about celebrities? I'm thinking particularly of the likes of Beyonce, who would credit veganism with getting, her body ready for X, Y and Z festival. That kind of paints veganism rather than you say, Roger, as a philosophical and ethical choice to just a fad diet.
Yeah, actually, the vegan movement and the animal movement has had a kind of rocky relationship with celebrities. There are some, if you like, committed vegans in the celebrity culture, if you want to use that phrase. But there are also a lot of people who kind of do it for a while and then they kind of renounce it, and then they go back to using other animals. So I'm actually fairly wary of what celebrities say. Mm-hmm. Myself, it's just the way it is. The classic case, I think, is Naomi Campbell, who was anti-fur, and then suddenly she's walking down the catwalk in fur. So, celebrities can be a little bit kind of dodgy from a kind of philosophical point of view, to be honest.
I would have thought that it would be more, and we're getting slightly off topic, but we'll return to Veganuary in a second. I would have thought it would be slightly more accurate for them to say, look, I'm trying out a plant-based diet, rather than I am now vegan. I subscribe to the philosophies of veganism. There are no animal products of any kind in my home, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's really well put, because a lot of people call their plant-based diet veganism, whereas actually veganism involves a plant-based diet, but that's not all that it's about. It's about much wider issues than that. Veganism, as I said, is a very radical idea. So if you kind of take that on board and adhere to the philosophy, then you're into rights violations, you're concerned about human issues, you're concerned about other animals, obviously. Then there's environmental factors. It's a whole kind of philosophical view of how we could live in a more kind of, or a less harmful way.
I know particularly, not necessarily from an ethical or philosophical standpoint, but certainly the pillar of the argument, if you will, for veganism in environmental terms has taken a bit of a bashing of late, particularly when one looks at the air miles or carbon footprint involved in producing, let's say, almond milk. Yes,
well, I think the point about that is that vegans are committed to ending rights violations and to reducing harm and all the rest of it. And so if there is a product that vegans use regularly and it's shown to be harmful, then vegans are motivated to change the way that is. So we'll actually try and change the production system or just boycott that as well. We have a track record, if you like, just by being vegans, of avoiding things which include rights violations. So if it's a problem that we have almond milk, then we'll drop that as well.
In terms then of Veganuary, essentially what it is a 4 or 5 week trial of a plant-based diet rather than a 4 or 5 week trial of the ethics and philosophy of veganism.
Well, you could say that, although, again, they do have those kind of resources on their website. So if people if people do engage with them, and then that involves signing up, and then they would be encouraged to look at their website, then they can get all kinds of resources about the way that we use, different other animals, pigs, fishes, cows, etc., etc. So they would be able to look into the ethics. There is not a lot of what I would call rights-based material, but then again, there's not a lot of rights-based material in the animal rights movement in a kind of ironic way, but that's something that we're kind of working on, really.
What would you say, Roger, to somebody who is considering returning to a plant-based diet or becoming vegan, but just feels in some ways it's too big a jump for them?
Well, I think that's where they can actually get online and get some help. And in fact, one of the best ways really would be to just talk, within the existing vegan groups on Facebook. And, we get a lot of people asking, in a sense, the same question, what would you do about this, and what about that argument, and what about this issue? And, the experienced vegans will help out the newbies, as it were. And that's kind of the way it works. There used to be an initiative called Vegan Buddies, which was pre-internet, and that was the same thing. An experienced vegan would talk to somebody who's just joined the movement and answer their questions. And so you don't necessarily have to go to Veganuary, although that's a way you can do it. You can just go to Facebook or other social media and just sign up to those existing vegan groups. And then that means you'll be talking to other vegans who are local to you. And that might work better for you in a sense,
Dr. Roger Yates, organising volunteer at the Vegan Information Project. Thank you for joining us.